And one of our favorites joining us right now from the Big Apple, and he is with Soccer My Eyes, Franco Panizo. Franco, welcome to Red Card, my friend. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing today?
I couldn't be better. Franco, let's talk about that game yesterday. So many different storylines to cover. Let's first and foremost talk about the refereeing. I thought it was a little bit, suspect with some of the PK calls he made. I mean, I would for sure say the first one he called was legit, but after that, I was a little bit confused. You?
Yeah, it seems, there was a couple, there were a couple of questionable calls throughout the game. The one penalty kick in particular for New York City FC, I believe the second one. I can't even recall because of how many there was. I think that one was a little bit of a bad call. And throughout the game, it just seemed like he kind of lost plot on it a little bit, and just with the amount of penalty kicks that were given for both teams. So it wasn't one way or the other. It felt like it's just. I wouldn't say it was the worst game, that we've seen from a referee this season, but there's definitely some bad calls in there. It went both ways though, so in the end, it seemed to even out.
Couple rough patches on the field, but this is to be expected, Franco, with baseball there, and also it's the first time that it is hosting on a regular basis games in MLS on at least every other week. So to me, I don't think it's a big concern like a lot of other people are making it out to be. Visually, from when we were watching it, you could see it, but you're there, you've seen it. How bad is it?
The field, this time it looked like as bad as it's looked, maybe since the beginning of the year when the grass was, when we were still in the winter and the grass wasn't really that well grown and looked pretty dead. Now, for the most part, since spring hit, the fields looked pretty good. But yes, this last game it looked it looked as bad as it's looked. You could still see the baseball diamond or parts of it. Maybe they didn't have enough time, or maybe they ran out of time. They say it takes 2 to 3 days their field conversion to swap it around. Maybe something went wrong and they weren't able to get it done completely, because it definitely did not look like the job was completely done like it has for other games, with the short turnaround. So, I haven't heard anything on that end, but it's a possibility, because in other games you don't notice the baseball diamond as much as you could on this one.
Franco, David Villa, Sebastian Giovinco, to me, have been the price of admission to wherever they've traveled in MLS this season on home field. Both of them have brought so much excitement and joy to their fans. Once again, yesterday, both of them got people out of their seats. Sebastian Giovinco, 9 minutes, 3 goals. David Villa, again, really helping this new expansion team get to the playoffs if they can in this first season, and they both had a whale of a game.
Yeah, it was a great game. If you're a neutral, or if you're fans of those guys in particular, because they both put on the show. Villa scores the free kick. It probably should have been saved. But the show Giovinco put on, man, that was just something special. Just down 2-0 in the first half, and he comes back and just flips the script. Flips the game on his head, and completes the first half hat trick, and it was just remarkable to see. And I know everyone's saying he could be the best player that MLS has ever had. I know that argument's being made by some observers and some pundits out there. If he continues to have games like this, there'll be no doubt that's the case. I would say you still need to see it for a little bit longer. He's done great these first 6 months of the season, but you got to see it for a little bit longer before we can make declarations like that. But no, he's been great, and yesterday was just another testament to how good he is and the type of player he can be and what a show he can put on.
Franco, I've been a fan of this guy since his NCAA days in the Maryland Terrapins, and that is Patrick Mullins, and he was guided by Sasho Sorowski, and a guy that really believed in this young man. And to me, when New England Revolution left him unprotected, and I said to myself, this will come back to burn them. I think this young man has been a tremendous addition to this squad, and I think he's got a lot of game left and a lot of years in a New York City FC uniform. Your thoughts?
The thing about him is that he's not great at any one thing, but he just seems to have the knack to be in the right place at the right time, and there's something to be said for that. That's a good trait to have, especially if you're a forward. And he just complements David Villa well, and that's earned him quite a bit of playing time, significant playing time this season. He works hard. He's maybe not the best finisher in the game, but he can score goals too. So he's someone that whose development we should watch over these next few years, especially now that he's learning from someone like David Villa. I know some New England fans were not too happy with having lost him in the re-entry draft or the expansion draft, whatever draft. There's a million of them. So he's a good player, young guy. So we'll see how he continues to grow over these next few years. But definitely someone to keep an eye on. He's definitely got some tools that can make him a very good overall pro.
Chris Wingert and Ned Grabavoy, two veterans in MLS, have really brought a lot to this team. I mean, they've helped these youngsters like Mullins and others. Josh Saunders, another veteran. I think this is a team that is not afraid to push and push and push to get the results they need to get them into the playoffs. I think this could be a real success story if they get into the playoffs this year, where they started out pretty rough early on, but now they've picked up steam, and you could see that they're getting more and more synergy all together on the same page.
The thing about, they bring veteran leadership on and off the field. There's no doubt about it. But to me, I've honestly been Winger has been okay. He's done done a decent job. He's had to fill in at center back and left back, so he's been bouncing around positionally. But for me, a Grabavoy, I feel like there needs to be more. He needs to show more on the field. He's been in and out of the lineup in recent weeks, and part of that is because he just hasn't been consistent and hasn't made an impact on a lot of games that he's been in and that he should be making an impact. He puts in the work. He does the dirty work on the defensive side. He tries to get involved attacking, but it just hasn't been enough. It just hasn't been enough especially on the offensive end. And I think that's something Jason Kreis, while he hasn't said it directly, I think that's something Jason Kreis has alluded to when he has said, we need guys stepping up, and we're not getting the best efforts that we can from some guys. I think he's one of those guys that really needs to step up. And now we'll see though. You've got Frank Lampard coming soon. If he recovers from this injury, you've got Andrea Pirlo. So. And you're gonna have Mixed Discord come back in a couple weeks from the Gold Cup, assuming the U.S. makes it all the way through to the final. So it's going to be interesting, who goes where, what pieces fit where, who's left out of the lineup, and how it all looks. Because right now, Grabavoy's in the picture, but he could very well be out once those three guys return to the fold or are introduced to the fold.